there. This is actually the first time I've done a Google Hangout as far as a Hangout on air. First time I've done one of these kinds of things, and I'm kind of terrified that the technology isn't going to work properly because I've had to update video drivers and all kinds of stuff. It's actually the first time I've done a Google Hangout as far as a Hangout on air. First time I've done one of these kinds of things, and I'm kind of terrified that the... Okay, there we go. All right, so anyhow, I'm going to get started here since it's already a little bit after 8. So thanks for joining us for EdCamp Global. I'm just going to immediately switch to my screen share mode here and go for it. So on the actual page, the event page, you should see a link to this in the little details there. So you can click on that at some point if you need to get to this. But I'm going to talk about awesome Chrome extensions that you need. And to give you a little bit of information about me, I'm basically I'm a high school teacher, and I teach in Missouri at Jackson High School, which is a 10 through 12 school. And I've just really gotten into Google stuff lately. I got my Google for Education certification this summer, and I really enjoy Google Chrome. So when coming up with something to do for EdCamp Global, I thought this would be a fun thing. Just because there's so many uses for it. And I know with so many students in schools that are in a one-to-one situation that have devices, that this is useful not only for teachers, but for students as well. So anyway, I've given you a hashtag there, Chrome for Teachers. And if you do decide to tweet out, be sure to use that hashtag. And if you do have questions later on, there should be a Q&A over to the side, but if there's not, you can use those hashtags and I'll tweet back at you. So let's hop to it. First off, if you have not used Google Chrome extensions or don't know what those are, extensions are just little software programs that are built into the browser. And you can download those from various places, but essentially where you're going to get them is and I'll go through here in just a minute how you actually put those in, but that's from the Chrome App Store. With regards to looking at extensions, and we'll back up here, if you have extensions loaded, you can click on the little hamburger menu there, and you can go to more into extensions. Or you can actually type this in, Chrome extensions, and it will show a list of all the extensions that are loaded. If something is enabled, it'll be checked. If you want to get rid of it, you can trash can it. I got a quick click in there. And you can check mark to enable an extension. Now, you do not have to be signed in. I am signed in, but you don't have to. If you are signed in and then you move to another device or a different computer, then those installs will kind of go with you. So you can then enable them in a different browser. So that's basically just the background there. To get additional Chrome extensions, you'll go to the Google Web Store, and you'll find those there. And you can search them. There's a search box there, and then of course extensions. You can mark it for free. You can look for things that are highly rated. Pretty much if anything is less than a 4, I don't even give it a look. Maybe that's terrible, but I'm really big into ratings. And so I have just found that for the most part, I get better luck if I stick with 4s and 5s. So let me go ahead and move on, and I'll give you kind of the list of the extensions that I want to share with you today. So essentially, I really like all of these, and I'm going to break them through one by one, but just at a glance for those of you who are already really big into extensions, you can see what I'm going to shoot at you here today. And I'm sure there are a million more. There are others that I've used that are not on this list as well. But for the sake of time and interest, I'm just going to go over a few that I really like that are helpful for me as a teacher and for the students that I teach. Now, I am a business education teacher, though I teach mostly technology classes, but these are the tools that I like to use. One thing to note about these extensions is that if you have a lot of extensions running in your browser, it does take up the memory on your computer. So it will slow that down, slow that browser down. So you do not want to have too many. I do like to use a specific extensions management tool, and I will talk about it here today. All right, so probably one of the very first the first extensions that I encourage my students to use is AdBlock. So I'm going to actually click here to go to weather.com. You can see here my extensions are loaded. They're always loaded up in this little bar up here to the right of your URL. And you can see here that the stop sign is my ad block. And on that stop sign, it's blocking 14 ads on this Weather Channel page. Now, I actually didn't realize the Weather Channel had that many ads because I always run ad block. But if I turn it off, I'm just going to pause it. And if I hit refresh, so now it won't be blocking the ads. What it should do is load the page up, and it takes longer to load. But now you're seeing these ads are going to load up. So like, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea there was a big ad at the top of the Weather Channel page because I've always blocked the ad. Now, I am part of a Teachers Pay Teachers group, and they're really against blocking ads because, you know, the click through the ads is how you can make money. So I get that. But at the same time, in a school environment, I really don't like to have ads popping up and further distracting students. So I'm going to pop that back on and close out this tab. So that's ad block. You can see here, and for each of these tools, I'll show you what the icon looks like. And then in addition, I'll show you what it looks like in the store as far as ratings go. So the second one that I like is Grammarly. And it's really one of those that works a little bit better if you're signed into it. But what I do like about it, and I don't know if I have it, hopefully it's set up properly. I'm going to go to my Google Drive and just pull up a form so I can hopefully show you this on an actual form. Let's see. Of course, when I want a form, there's no form. All right, so here's for my FBLA group, an officer submission form for activities, and I'll go to the live form. If Grammarly is running, and it does not run on all pages, as a matter of fact, I have found that sometimes it doesn't run at all. But when it is running, you can actually double click words, and it's not working at this moment. And if it's running, those words then will be defined. So again, not working at the moment. That's the way it goes when you're live with a bunch of people, right? But that is Grammarly, and it is helpful. On my school computer, it's always running, and you'll see this little icon usually in the bottom corner of text boxes. And this is most handy for me in email because it's always running in my email. Clearly. Now, as a teacher, this one I really like, just because many times articles are not available for my students, and I have to put them out. But for students who are distracted, if you're giving them news articles to read, having the Clearly extension installed is helpful. So what I'm going to do here is click on this little link here to a Fox News article, and you can see there's a lot of stuff going on. If you're one of those kids who's like, oh my gosh, let me go down the rabbit hole, there's plenty of things to distract you away from the article you're supposed to be reading. So Clearly is this one, and if you click on it, what it does is it reloads your page using Clearly. Now, if you're familiar with Evernote, Clearly is put out by Evernote. So you can see now what it's done. It's reloaded it. And at this point, I've got none of the distracting stuff on the side. And if I had my Evernote account, if I was signed into it right now, I could actually save this article in this form to Evernote. Now, I'm not going to talk about Evernote today. I could do a whole day probably just on Evernote, but Evernote has a web clipper that automatically converts things to Clearly whenever you're saving those articles through the Evernote extension. So, but anyway, this is really helpful, especially if you have students that get distracted, and if they're reading articles, you could have them to utilize that extension. So that's Clearly. Cite This For Me has become a really handy one. There are so many things I like about this one. Obviously, in my lab, we have, you know, full versions of Microsoft Office because I'm a business teacher and so forth. And there are things built into that will do this, but just not as easily. So I'm going to open up again that Fox News article here, and I'm going to initiate the Cite This For Me. It's this little blue book, and on this blue book, I'm going to give it a click, and automatically you can see we've got APA here going on. And it's not perfect, but if you're having students do a bibliography, like I have English teachers that'll have students do bibliographies, they can go through here and highlight, and it puts the quote here into this, and then they can click Add to Bibliography. Now, this is going to open into another page, But you can see it's not perfect. It didn't catch the first name of the person. So if I go back to the article and scroll up, Brooke was the first name. So I could go in here and actually fix that, or if there are other things that needed to be changed. But it's an excellent starting point. And when you click Add Reference, it's going to add it into this document. And it tells you here that it only temporarily puts it on here for a certain amount of time, and then students would need to create an account. But I just really love this resource. I would think if you're an English teacher and your students have devices, or if you're in any class where you want students to cite information, that this would be an excellent resource. So that is Cite This For Me. And again, very well rated, as you can see in those reviews. All right, again, a teacher's friend is print friendly in PDF, and it has this little green icon that looks kind of like a printer. And I'm going to open up another article here, and you can see that this is a big tech and learning article. And again, it's got a built-in like a tweet deck or whatever here on the side, and it's lots of information and events and what's in the next issue and comments. I have a lot of issues with articles that I find that have a lot of comments. So if you go to print it, it's going to be pages and pages long just simply because of comments. So if you click here on Print Friendly, what it does is it downsizes the article. And what I like about this is it does put the URL, and then you can still customize. So like if I really don't need this picture of this little bird here, I can click it and zap it. I don't really need the cloud, so I can click it and zap it. And you can undo if you mess that up. You can also modify the text size of the article. So if you don't like the size that it's currently at, you can size that down. And then you can take these results and, of course, send them straight to the printer. Or, as I would do sometimes with mine before I post the article for students to read, especially blogs, because blogs tend to be blocked at my school district. So if I want them to read a blog article, I have to kind of convert it to PDF. So I can click here and it will generate my PDF from within. And then, of course, I can download that PDF straight to my computer. And I'll click on it to open it in my browser so you can see. And then there we go. Nice and cleaned up version of the article. And so I just absolutely love that resource and love that everything is built in as well. All right, so I'll get out of that one and move on to the next. Now, the Google URL shortener, certainly you can type in goo.gl and go there on your own and shorten your URL. But this is a nice one because you can actually press the icon here, and if you're at an article, again, I'll pull up the Tech and Learning article again, then it will immediately create the Google shortened URL for you so that you can share that with students. It immediately let you copy it to the clipboard or generate a QR code, which is really nice if you are going to post these or if you are using devices where students might be scanning in those codes. So it's really handy. You don't have to go copy and paste various things to be able to use it. All right, Fireshot is another. This is a web page screen capture program. And I also really like this. Now, I do use a separate out-of-browser screen capture for a lot of things. However, I do find this one to be a really good one for inside a web page. So if we pop back up here, I'll just bring this article back up again. So if I wanted to capture this, now I wouldn't, I'd probably use the other way to capture this. But let's say I needed to capture the page in some way. You can click on Capture Page for Fireshot. And you can capture the entire page, or you can capture selection. What is cool about this is, of course, your mouse changes to a plus sign, but it will scroll down the page. So if you did want more than just what was on the first page, you could scroll down. It would open it up into a new tab, and you can see it in a little window. And then at this point, you have the option. You can save it as an image, save it to PDF. Some of the things you cannot use if you don't upgrade it, like the exporting feature is not available, automatic emailing is not available, but you do have these other options, so I can save this easily as an image and that sort of thing. So really handy screenshot little program that's built into your browser. tab scissors is, I guess I call it a lazy man's extension. But tab scissors allows you to quickly pull your tab out from the browser. So if I'm out here in this new tab, I'll just click on Amazon. If you're out here in this new tab, what you can do then is click tab scissors and it pops it out of this set of tabs, which of course you can do by just clicking and dragging. But what I like about it is it puts them side by side. So immediately you've got your tabs side by side. I think that's pretty handy. So that's tab scissors. There's another one I don't use it called tab glue, where you can put tabs side by side. It doesn't put the tab back into the dock. So I don't really use it, but I have had people recommend that one to me as well. All right, Magic Actions for YouTube's kind of a handy one for the classroom. And again, I know there are websites that allow you to hide certain parts of YouTube when you're looking at a video. Now, what I think is cool about this one, and I've got the audio turned down, is that you'll see the icon shows up here by the URL only when you're in YouTube. So you won't see this one listed elsewhere. It gives you a light switch. You'll notice my YouTube started black. That's because I had it turned black last time I used it. You can turn it back on, but a light switch appears when you have the magic thing going on. And then you can click right above your video, and it goes into this like isolated view. So you don't have all the extra stuff in there. It does have some customizations, so you can click on these various things. This one here is kind of handy. You can take a quick screenshot, a still shot of whatever's on the screen. And then, of course, here you can click on it, and it brings up all of the other additional features that it has. It actually has an extension for Firefox and Opera as well. What I don't like is it does open all these in pretty much new windows or new tabs. All of the features are in here. You can set it to where it blocks the ads, it hides the ads. That's not the default, so that is something that you'd have to change. And you could set it to where it sets to that cinema mode automatically, but that gets really super annoying if you set that as a default. Here's going to let you change the colors around the picture or the video. Not that that would be super exciting for us as adults, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, that is Cinema Magic. To get back, you just click right beside your video, kind of right above it again, and that puts you back the other way. And that's, again, Magic Actions for YouTube. All right, I love this black menu. Now, certainly if you're in here in Google Chrome, you can set it up so that you can see your app bar. That's under somewhere. Where you can actually see the apps bar, which is little boxes that are going to appear there, which will give you shortcuts to some of the Google tools. However, I like Black Menu because when you click on it, it will show you a list of those popular Google apps, but you can use them from right within here. So for instance, if I wanted to run a quick Google search, I can click in here and do it from within this window. If I wanted to pop into Google Plus, I can pop in here real quickly and do that, translate maps, search YouTube, and it's all done right from within this drop down. I can even, of course, check out the news and see what's happening as well. So if you choose to give it permissions to access your Drive or your Gmail, then you can do that. I've given it permissions to access my calendar, so you can see here all my exciting things that I've got going on. But again, that's a pretty handy one, that Black Menu. And again, it's very well rated as well. Now, one tab, I'm afraid to click this right now while I've got this webinar going on because I don't want to mess anything up. Although I'm doing the webinar in Internet Explorer and we're in Chrome, so this shouldn't hurt anything other than the fact that I'll have to reopen my presentation. But I'll just show you what it does. So you click on this filter, and what happens is all of your open tabs in this window are going to be consolidated down to one tab, which is this one. So I'll just show you a previous one that I had. So anytime I click that, they're in here. And then I can see like all of these are tabs that I just had open. It's kind of almost like a temporary bookmark, if you will. And then, of course, if you decide, you know, I don't need that one, I've changed my mind, I don't really need to have Facebook quickly accessible, you can just hit X here rather than going out, opening the tab, right-clicking, or hitting the X to close the tab. What's also cool about this is you can hit Restore All. So if I hit that right now, all of these would be restored back to tabs. Or I could share as a web page, and it would generate a web page of these tabs. So if I was in the middle of searching and I just kept opening new tabs, every time I found a good resource, then I could click share as web page and I would have a web page of all those resources. You can see over here, you can also import and export URLs as well. So there's a lot of little features with one tab. I absolutely love it because when you have a lot of tabs open, you know, that can slow down the browser as well. So if you're not using all of those at that moment, you just don't want to lose them, then one tab is just really excellent. And it's not like you have to, you can see, I mean, I've got my one tab going and I've opened additional tabs since then. So it works out very well. Now, this is one that I can't live without, quite frankly. So while I have you on here, I have all of these different extensions loaded, which means they're all running in memory. And that can slow my browser down. So for the most part, I don't leave all of these up here. So Extensity is this one, the one with the moon. And it's going to show you all of the things that I already have ready. So it's basically a fast way, a toggle to enable and disable these. So I could go through and maybe just keep up the ones that I use the most often. And now those are all listed there, but the rest of them, of course, are not because they're disabled. This also shows you all of your Google apps that are currently installed. And you can see I'm a bit of a Google app freak, so I have quite a few, which is a faster way to get to those. Because if you had the little apps button up here, it would only bring up one little section of those, and you'd have to scroll through and scroll through and scroll through. So this gives you a drop-down menu to get to all those apps, and I think that's just super handy. So that's called Extensity. Absolutely love it as an extensions manager. And of course, there's others out there as well, but this seems to be the one that I've gravitated to. So there you go. I feel like that was kind of a lot of things all at once, but I wanted to show you what the icons look like, but then I wanted to give you the opportunity to see how they really work within the browser. So hopefully you'll share some additional thoughts if you have any. I'll pop back over to the webcam here in a second and check Q&A to see if you have any questions. And there are so many others that I like. Screencastify is pretty cool if you need to record a screencast of your screen like we're doing right now, rather than using, you know, a Google Hangout to do that. If you're just doing a short tutorial for your class and you're going to be doing that inside the browser and you wouldn't be able to do it on something outside browser, it has a limit of 10 minutes, but it'll immediately let you save it to your Google Drive. It has Google Drive integration and it saves pretty quickly. I've been pretty impressed with it. And then of course, Evernote Web Clipper. If you have an Evernote account, I can't live without my Evernote account. I have it on everything, all my devices, my phone, everything. And I can clip things from web pages or articles that I click on in Twitter when I'm on my actual cell phone and things. So it's pretty neat. Again, so if you do any questions, you know, please tweet out at me at Tanya Skinner. I've also given you my Gmail address, and these are all listed on the event site as well. I listed that yesterday. And also, again, Chrome for Teachers would be our little hashtag here. So let me pop out of this back over, and hopefully all this has been going out. All right, so I'll stop screen sharing and pop back over. So I hope you guys are all out there. I don't know if you have any questions, so I'll just kind of give you a minute. I know that it sort of lapses for a little bit after I talk, so I'll do that. Give it just a minute to roll, and I'll pop over here and check Twitter on my other computer that I've got open, because that's how silly I am. I like to have two computers open here at the same time. So any questions or things that you would like to share? This session is a Google Hangout on air, which means it's automatically being recorded to YouTube. So if you do find something that you like out of here and want to share it, please do so. I will tweet out again the direct YouTube link here in just a minute. So feel free to share that with anybody who you think might benefit from these extensions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. But again, if you do have anything, please tweet out at me at Tanya Skinner, TonyaSkinner, and I'll be glad to tweet back at you. And I will pop back over to screen share for just a second to show you how to get to this a little more easily. So if you go to the page, which I'm assuming you got through probably through here to get to today. Hop back over here. And I'm down towards the bottom. All right. So hopefully I don't crash anything. So if you get to the page and you're back in here, if you aren't familiar with the way this works, if you click on links, then that will give you the YouTube page. And so that's going to be, just copy and paste that, and that will give you the direct YouTube link you can share. And then also down here, this is a link to my slides that I just showed you today. So feel free to go right there, and you can access those slides as well from the event today. All right. I guess that's it. So if you have any questions, again, shoot at me at Twitter. Otherwise, it's been excellent joining you here this morning as part of EdCamp Global. Best of luck for a super school year.